Hello there, good evening, and welcome to the debut edition of Political Lens, the show that brings you an inside look into the world of politics, right here on Voice of the People Television. I am your host, Chukwu Mokoro. And in the next 1 hour, we'll dive deep into the journeys of political figures who shape the policies, laws, and decisions that affect our daily lives, from governors and senators to party leaders, activists and analysts. Now, Political Lens brings you exclusive interviews and expert insights revealing the personal stories and professional paths that define our political landscape. We'll also look into issues that matter most to you, like electoral reforms, governance challenges, economy, insecurity, and the debates shaping our future. Now, stay with us as we bring politics into sharp focus. Let's get into it now. And today, we'll be discussing, is the APC going to implode before 2027? Now, let me bring in my guest. I have in the studio here Mr. Dele Fanimo. Dele Fanimo is a seasoned reporter and VOP in-house analyst. Dele, good to have you on the show.
I'm happy that I'm going to be part of the debut. In years to come, I will always recall this moment.
Exactly.
Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks for being part of the show. I appreciate you. We'll also be joined from our Benue studio by a political affairs analyst who is a lawyer and all of that. When he gets into the show, I will inform you. Now, let's get into it. As the political atmosphere keeps getting hotter, far ahead of the 2027 general elections, almost all the major political parties seem to be grappling with internal fissures that may torpedo the peace that these parties were known for. In all of this, only the crisis in the PDP and the Labour Party get all the spotlight. Now, unknown to many, the ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, seems to be neck-deep in crisis that may redefine its position as the ruling party in 2027. Now, I'm beginning from Lagos State, where the tension created by the removal of the House of Assembly Speaker Modashiru Obasa seems to have divided the highly regarded Governors Advisory Council, GAC. Now, the GAC is the highest decision-making body of the APC in Lagos, to Kano State, where the national chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, and the Deputy Senate President, Jibrin Barau, are in contest of who controls the soul of the party in the state. Is the cohesion taken for granted in the APC shaky? I mean, the cohesion that is taken for granted in the APC, is it shaky at this moment? And in Osun State, former governor and former minister, Rauf Arebashola, who used to be the president's point man, has pulled out of the APC, taking a large chunk of the party in a state that lost power to the opposition PDP. That's not all. In Kwara State, former Minister for Information, Lai Mohammed, and his Otoge movement are in deep loggerheads with the sitting governor, Abdulrahman Abdulrazak. The situation in Rivers State is not different, as two factions led by Tony Okocha and Emeka Beke are in hot contest as to which faction is the authentic leadership of the party in Rivers State. Let's touch Kaduna State, where the former governor, Nasir El-Rufai, and his estranged godson, Obar Sani, the current governor, are in a battle of wits and words regarding the fortunes of the APC in Kaduna State and Nigeria as a whole. And in Abia State, the case is not different, as there are about 3 camps in the APC. All the big swigs are in different camps. Senator Ojuzo Kalu, Minister Nkiru Onyejocha, Minister of Labour, Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Ben Kalu, former Minister Uche Oga, are all in control of one faction of the state or the other. Dele, you heard everything that I've said.
Yeah.
Does it look like the APC is going to implode anytime soon if you put all of this together?
You see, I don't see it happening.
Okay.
There's not going to be any implosion. You see, when election is ahead, let me start by telling you that this kind of pockets of crisis,
the major crisis afflicting the big wigs, you say, is pockets.
I'm telling you.
Okay.
Just hold on to allow me rest my case.
No, go ahead. We have time.
You see, some of these people, like I was saying, I said, pockets of crisis is the oil that drives the wheel of politics.
Okay.
When there is a semblance of peace, in most cases, when you have election coming up, Because we might think that 2027 is far. It's no longer, it's here. It's no longer as far as we think. Now, you see, some people would be pretenders, some will be contenders, some will be aspirants that knows that they will never get tickets. But all these shades of gladiators angling for the soul of the party, either at state level or at national level, would always want to show some kind of contestation to expose what they have to the powers that be that determines who climbs the ladder to enter the inner room.
Okay.
And in the course of this, you always have a semblance of this. It happened in PDP as soon as Obasanjo came towards the build-up to 2023 elections, that Atiku almost left the party, and a lot of people were queuing behind.
You mean 2003?
Yes.
Okay, you said 2023.
Oh, sorry, 2003.
Yes.
You know, when they came and Atiku was coming up strong, that he almost upset Obasanjo for a second-time ticket, that Obasanjo had to practically go on his knees to appease Atiku. Now, when you, just like what you have extracted, some of them, they want the soul of their states.
Okay.
And in doing this, you don't sit in a corner in politics without ruffling the feather. And the person that will determine who takes charge of that state will not come and meet you at the corner of your room and say, look, you are eminently qualified.
Okay.
You must flex muscles.
Yeah,
and this is the muscles
like
they are flexing.
You are talking about an internal mechanism of resolving crisis.
Yes.
Okay. I like the fact that you also mentioned PDP.
Yeah.
And now let's go back to 2013 when Amechi had started having problems with Jonathan through his wife, President Jonathan. I think
And
that
it was as a result of the Wike factor.
No, Wike hadn't come into focus at that time.
2013.
Yes.
Build up to 2015.
No. I mean, no. The problem that even started, the problem between Jonathan and Amechi.
Yes.
Wike was still in Rivers State.
Yes.
He hadn't left to Abuja, for Minister of State position.
Yeah.
It was a crisis in Okrika, where I think there was a minor altercation and Amechi had to pull away his security and, left the first lady,
in the venue,
to harm's way, and all of that. So that was the beginning. And people were like, look, there's always an internal mechanism within the PDP to resolve all these crises. Now, that eventually snowballed into what became the NPDP. That never, ever, that has left PDP to what it is today. I'm citing this instance because let's start from Lagos State. What do you think is happening in Lagos State? Don't you have fear that the APC structure might collapse in Lagos State? If you look at what is happening between the Governance Advisory Council, the both camps of Governance Advisory Council, the Jubilee mandate and the Legacy mandate and all of that, what they call them, you know what the GAC stands for. And the fact that the president's wife has, maybe with a crystal ball, looked into it and said, look, this is not the time to ruffle the feather or torpedo the peace. I want us to start from Lagos State. Don't you think that what is going on in Lagos State, if it is not properly handled, that it can cause damage to the reputation and the capital of APC in Lagos State? Let's start base with Lagos first.
Okay. Now, you see, Lagos State politics is like a pyramid.
Okay.
You have the man that dictates who gets what. Let's look at corporate ladder.
Okay.
He represents the chairman of this corporate ladder called Lagos Politics. Okay. And then under the chairman, you have the board of directors. This board of directors are the GAC, Government Advisory Council. Yes. No, it's government, not governors.
Governors Advisory
Is it governors?
Council. Yes.
Okay. Now, Lagos is such a state that is configured in a way that what the chairman does in Lagos State is that it will make sure that positioning and sensitive positions are not ceded to those who have political base. Check out the governors of Lagos State after Tinubu. Okay. None had political base. They just come and pick them, and then they become governors. They don't have a political structure. So the usual mantra is, you do all the governance, then leave politics to us. And the us is the chairman and the governor's advisory council. Okay. So if somebody is now trying to upset the status quo, now that person must rein in the MD, which is the governor, okay, and then move up to the board of directors and decimate the ranks of the board of directors, which is governor's advisory council, before you move to the chairman, who ultimately decides who gets what. Okay. But that is not to discountenance the fact that if this gets to a point that is not quickly arrested, it could affect the fortunes of APC.
Have we reached that point?
We have not reached that point.
Okay, we have not reached that point. Did you ever imagine that the president will take the position he's taking now? I said, look, I didn't know that it was more like a coup that you guys took the speaker away. I didn't know it's more like a coup. But when there was this rapprochement and they said, okay, it's okay, let's keep moving. But less than 2 weeks after that, the man says, no, it is not right to take him out like that. Let's give him a soft landing. Let him come back as speaker, then resign on his own terms. And we see a situation where there is a division. Because of that particular position, the governor seems to be against the president. Even though
he doesn't want Obasa,
he doesn't want Obasa, but he's not trying. He's not
vociferous about
it. He's not attacking the president. He's not rejecting.
He's also trying to avoid a collision.
And I also want you to understand that. Look, the governor has nothing to lose. He's not looking for re-election. I mean, this is his second term, so he who is down fears no fall. He might decide, well, I don't want to be minister or any other thing again, like some governors have done before. Now, if you put that into consideration, and the fact that people like Musiliu Abanikoro, Senator Adefuye, these are people that are up against the president. Like saying, yes, returning Obasa into office.
Okay.
So if you put all of these things together, I've mentioned Abanikoro, I've mentioned Adefuye, the governor is clearly on their side, even if he's not outspoken about it. Now, the president's wife is clever enough to shield the former speaker or the speaker from being investigated and prosecuted by the anti-graft agency, because she says, look, Agege, where the former speaker represents, is critical and strategic to Lagos politics. So we don't want to mess up with that area. If you put all of these things together, don't you think that Obasa, if not managed, that Obasa has the capacity to cause damage to APC in Lagos State?
You see, for me, Obasa is not...
Sorry. I want you to consider that he is a grassroots politician.
That's why I said...
He's been in politics for more than 10 years. And he has...
No, it's much more than 10 years.
Much more than that. So, and he will have mustered so much capital, in terms of...
Social capital.
Yes.
And political capital.
Political capital to be able to cause havoc. Don't you think that is why they are trying to manage him?
But it's also instructive for you to know that Obasa is not likely to do much damage. Because from day one, the president who calls the shots never abandoned him.
Okay.
So his grounds will be against the current speaker, who was the deputy, and those legislators who were whining and dining with him for close to 2 years, and some of them who came back maybe 6 years or so that had been in the house, now abandoning him midway into his current term and impeaching him while he was away. So he's not going to be particular about, and he's not going to take his time or venture into doing APC in Lagos State.
Okay.
There would be a sort of consensus. And Tinubu is very smart at doing some of these things. he would rather give him something that will make him feel comfortable if he's taken out of the house.
Okay, so don't you think that invariably the president and the other people are giving him are putting him in a position of strength to negotiate?
Of course, politics is about negotiation, and the stronger you are, the more amenable the opponent will come to negotiate with you. Okay. Because they know that, and you know that politics is a game of number. For every vote that Obasa is able to bring into the table, that gives him strength to come to the table and begin to negotiate on the basis of compromise. If you give me this, I'll give you this. Okay. You understand? What I'm saying is that Obasa is not likely to work against APC, given the fact that the president, the wife, and some other people are, in support. Okay. Not minding the fact that he may not return. But they have demonstrated friendship at the last minute by not abandoning him and letting him know that even if he doesn't get back to that floor of the house as a speaker, he still enjoys cooperation and support from them. Okay. So to that extent, he's not going to just come want to do it.
Before we leave Lagos State, I want you to consider the fact that for the first time in the open, we have people that are kicking, challenging the president. People like Musiliu Abanikoro, people like Senator Defuye, who are clearly on the side of the governor in saying Obasa should not return. This is about the first time this kind of thing is happening in Lagos. I mean, in the open. They're always internal wranglings. They're always internal wranglings, But we have not seen it in this.
Moise Banire came out in the open.
Okay, we have not seen it in this manner before. I think Moise Banire was more like a one-man show. But
that's what I'm saying.
Now we see a conglomeration of elements, that hold. And the question I even want to ask: Do you think that Lagosians are happy with the president, the way he's running Lagos State?
Who are the Lagosians?
People that live in Lagos.
Let me
the people that live in Lagos. I don't want us to get into the issue of.
Do they factor
of who is a Lagos? I mean, the powers that be in APC in Lagos. The powers that be in APC in Lagos. Yes. Do you think that they are happy with the way the president is running Lagos State?
For me, they may be happy, they may not be happy. Okay. But if each individual you mentioned, Obanikoro has no base. And this is not the first time Obanikoro would challenge the authority of the president. And he had his hands burnt in the process. There was a time
he got ambassadorial appointment.
There was a time he went to PDP now. Have you forgotten?
Yes.
And it was as a result of fight between him and Tinubu.
But the ambassadorial appointment was given him by the APC.
That's what I'm saying. He came back to the fold. So if he's now going to, I'm sure he's not going to find dirty because he must have experienced certain things in the process of having a brush with the powers that be in Lagos. And Obanikoro is from Lagos Island. And the history of Obanikoro does not serve him in good stead to want to contend with a behemoth like the president. Obanikoro was somewhere in the US when Adeniji Adele was contesting under SDP, and they needed somebody to contest against him that is an indigene of Lagos Island, Isaleko. Obanikoro, that name is a family name. There is a street called Obanikoro. Okay. They have a traditional head.
Are you trying to discountenance that sometimes underdog are also
not
able to upset the system?
Like Obanikoro has no base. I can tell you that.
Okay, let's
before we move on, do you know that one thing that is very clear about politics in Nigeria, if somebody that has the levers of power in his hand wants to decimate a rival politician, all you need to do is just make him an ambassador. By the time he's coming back, somebody has taken over his structure. Okay. And show me one person that had been ambassador that came back to hold on to his structure in Nigeria, in politics. No. And that was how they dealt with Obanikoro to make him ambassador. So that by the time he came back, his structures, because those things that we call structures are fed daily. So the moment they can't see you in months and you are not ready and you are not able to supply what they need at that moment, whoever comes up will take charge.
Okay, let's move away from Lagos and go to Osun State, where you have the former Commissioner for Works in Lagos State, who later served as Governor of Osun State. Two times, and now Minister of Internal Affairs, the penultimate Minister of Internal Affairs. I'm talking about Ogbeni Rauf Aregbesola. You know, he has also taken away a chunk of his own camp from the PDP, and they said, look, they are going to form a new political party. I want you to consider the fact that Osun State is not even APC, it's PDP.
Yeah.
So how much of that will cause damage in the PDP, in the APC ahead of 2027?
You see, it's just coming out in the open. Underground, Aregbesola worked against APC in the election that brought Adeleke into government. So, one thing that is clear is that Aregbesola is just trying to show, to give us an idea of what is going to happen in the next election in Osun State. Because there is every likelihood that Oyetola will want out to Adeleke.
To Adeleke, yes.
So he would want to come back using the leverage of the president, who is his cousin. You know. And Aregbesola knows that he cannot survive in that murky water. So he needed to showcase, in case he can get a safe landing in another party, which is likely to be PDP. But Aregbesola's temperament, having schooled under the president, cannot sustain him in PDP. Because one, PDP is already crowded. And PDP is not the ruling government. What is going to be his gain if he runs down APC in Osun State, which is what he's angling for? But I can tell you that you know how elections are conducted in Nigeria. And what happens.
He might just want to ensure that APC doesn't come back to
That's what I'm saying.
In Osun State.
That's what he's planning.
So wouldn't that be APC's loss?
That's what I'm saying.
Okay.
But what I'm saying is, it's difficult as INEC is presently constituted for, if APC truly wants Osun, it's difficult. But why I feel that Osun State may still produce Adeleke second time is the fact that there is a nexus between the presidency and Adeleke's family.
You said something about the way the present constitution of the INEC. What has that got to do with elections and politics?
You don't see.
Politics.
Have you ever seen a ruling party losing local government election?
They used to.
No, in the present INEC and the OCEC or this state independent electoral commission, all over, in the last 2-3 years that they were compelled to conduct local government election, show me a state that even River State, 3 weeks to the conduct of that election, party faithfuls under Fubara, loyal to Fubara, they went to APP and all of them won. Okay. In Akwa Ibom, they even announced it, that it's not as if you won. No. They said they gave the Senate president his local government. I was coming so that they won't shame him.
Is there something you know about the conduct of elections that we don't know? Because you seem to be very particular about INEC, the supervisor, the umpire. Is it that they have a way of manipulating elections or what?
INEC is tied to the umbilical cord of the presidency. It's not something that we have to debate.
The current president or former presidents?
Most of the presidents.
Jonathan lost election. He had INEC. He appointed the INEC chairman.
It was a shade too late for Jonathan to know that Jega was not doing his bidding. And after the election, when Jega stepped down from the chairmanship of INEC, you saw his body language and you saw his utterances. It was very clear that I'm a Fulani and a Fulani is coming. How would I have supported somebody who's not a Fulani? It's clear.
Okay, let's go to River State. Still talking about
that
APC.
one is a.
Let's go
that
to
one
Rivers
is
State.
a-
We're still talking about APC. Now, in Rivers State, you have two factions. One, led by Tony Okocha, who is the FCC minister's Man Friday.
Yeah, of course.
Then you have Emeka Beke, who is supposedly on the side of
Fubara.
the PDP governor.
Fubara.
Yes, Fubara. Now, what does that tell you about the ability or the capacity of the APC to win Rivers State in 2027? Do you think they are able? I mean, they are. Yes, like this afternoon, Okocha was complaining. He said, "Look, the courts, the judiciary is the problem. Is the cause of the problem in APC. How can they be giving conflicting judgments?" And one brother said conduct primaries, and another one they said they overturn the primaries that were conducted previously. As it is now, nobody even knows who the authentic leader of the APC is in Rivers State. And mind you, the governor is also battling, both in the APC and in the PDP. What does that tell you about the potency of APC in Rivers State ahead of 2027 elections?
There was a clear mandate, not in the open, but the body language and utterances of Wike clearly shows that he needed to rock the boat of politics in Rivers State to advance the cause of APC.
Now, is he achieving that?
But unfortunately, of course, you see, we are all political animals. It would be naive of Fubara to allow APC to perch on his shoulder. And he needed to infiltrate APC just the same way. That's why I keep saying that this infiltration of political parties, opposition parties, didn't start today.
And it's mutual.
It's mutual.
Okay.
It depends on how strong you are in your base. Fubara has the state resources at his disposal. He has a lot of capital to dispose. So it is easy for him to penetrate APC and make sure there is no coercion in APC in Rivers State.
Okay.
And that's what is happening now in Rivers State. Okay. But Wike, on the other hand, is not relenting. He has a leg in PDP, Rivers State. He has a leg in APC, Rivers State. So whichever way, he would continue to rock the boat of PDP. And Fubara also, being a smart politician, you know, you don't underrate anybody, especially when that person has power. Even if you don't have an idea of how to run, somebody will teach you how to run.
Okay, like I said something about underestimating underdogs.
Oh, yes.
They could pull the rug off your feet.
You know? So now, suddenly, Fubara has suddenly reinvented himself as an astute politician. Now he's also making sure that things don't go the way they expect in APC. Okay. And so already there is crisis in APC and there's crisis in PDP.
Okay.
So
now go
what might likely be the game changer is the ultimate interest of the powers that be in Aso Rock.
Okay. Now, from what we have done so far, we've been able to establish that, look, there is crisis in the APC in Lagos State. There's crisis in the APC in Osun State. There's crisis in the APC
in
Rivers State. Now, let's go to Kaduna State, where we have former Governor El-Rufai and his estranged godson, Obasani. You know, they are in a battle of words and wit and all of that. Who is going to take control of the soul of the party? And they are throwing tantrums here and there. The other week, I think last week, El-Rufai was in the company of Atiku Abubakar, his former master, and in the company of Cerebral John Kayode Fayemi. We also had Rotimi Amechi. Meanwhile, we didn't even factor Rotimi Amechi's role in the APC in Rivers State. He's also a factor there. And all of these people sat somewhere in Abuja in a leadership conference and said, look, especially Nasir El-Rufai said, look, I'm disappointed with what I'm seeing in the APC. This is not a party that we formed. We've not been able to fight insecurity. Economy is in deep decline, in utter decline, and all of that. Now, going back to Kaduna State, he's in contestation with the sitting governor. And if you know who El-Rufai is, I mean, he's a populist. He plays into people's sentiments, you know, resentment and all of that. He plays a populist kind of politics, like I said. And Obasani seems to be very cagey and edgy about, coming out boldly to say, because I'm not sure he's so very well grounded. It served as senator anyway, but it was El-Rufai that put him there. In all of this, what do you think the APC will turn out in Kaduna State ahead of 2027?
I think Kaduna has a peculiar problem.
Okay.
It's an individual problem between Rufai and his estranged godson.
Godson, okay.
And we have seen it happen, in various states in Nigeria. You remember the Oshomole, Obaseki,
okay.
Tosu.
Good. And you also know what happened to the APC.
So that may likely be another case entirely that may seriously ruffle the feathers of APC. Because I expected that Obasani, coming from civil society background and activism, I would have expected that he should be able to understand the dynamics of politics at that level.
Obasani, activism is different from Shehu Sani.
Shehu Sani, Obasani was also
an activist?
Yes,
okay.
he was also at some point.
Okay.
He was also an activist. So I was not expecting him to develop cold feet when it was time for him to wear his gloves and fight. And the political capital of El-Rufai started waning when there was a probe in the state that came up with a white paper. But the ability of that state,
saying that about 470 billion naira was missing. Okay.
And so I would have felt that if he wanted to remove the shackles of El-Rufai, he would have used that and launched a frontal attack to decimate his social capital and political capital in Rivers State. More so, you recall that El-Rufai was the one that instigated arms mop-up in Kaduna, that they were going to villages everywhere and even ordering whoever had any form of arms and ammunition other than Dane gun. In fact, they were even saying that they should submit their Dane gun for proper identification and all that. Only cutlasses are permissible. And immediately they mop up those arms. Herdsmen came and rounded a lot of villagers up and killed them in one fell swoop. So I would have expected that Obasani coming into government would have also capitalized on some of these and run El-Rufai out of Kaduna State. Okay. But unfortunately he's laid back. And El-Rufai is also, apart from looking into what is going on in Kaduna, is also getting national attention. And El-Rufai is like the Emir of Kano.
Okay.
When he speaks, even when you are not clear about his direction, you want to move with him.
People tend to follow him, yes.
You understand?
Yes.
And that is one thing that is going for him. But Obaseki was able to challenge Oshomole. Oshomole was also in the same shoes with El-Rufai.
Okay, and Obasani.
And Obasani. The fight between Obaseki and Oshomole. Oshomole is an orator. You can give it that to him. But Obaseki checkmates him in the process of that contestation. And when it was apparent that the powers that be at the center was not going to give him ticket, he went to PDP. Okay. And he was able to muzzle his way and win that election.
Okay, this conversation is getting quite interesting. Let's go to Kano State, where, the big state, the swing state. Ganduje, the national chairman of
3 million votes in Kaduna.
Exactly, the swing state that the party lost to NNPP in the 2023 general elections. Now, the problem there is that Ganduje is not only fighting for his political life, one, he is also in contestation with the Deputy Senate President, Barau Jibrin. So clearly, there are two camps, very big camps in Kano APC. Now, a certain Abdullahi Gwarzo, Mohammed Gwarzo, was removed as minister when the president did the reshufflement. And the Ganduje, the Jibrin camp, the camp of the deputy Senate president, are accusing Ganduje as being responsible for his removal. Now the crisis in Kano is deeper than we know because, like I said, the Senate president, the national chairman is battling for his life.
Of course.
For his political life. Looks like he has
a corruption case.
A corruption case. And the president, at a point where he was having problem, looked like the president distanced himself from that crisis. All through that period, the president didn't wade in, when he was shuttling between EFCC and the Kano Anti-Corruption Agency and all of that. Now, ahead of 2027, do you think that the APC, with what is going on now, I mean, two powerful people, Deputy Senate President and the National Chairman, struggling in a state that they should unite to take from NNPP? What do you think will happen in 2027?
The president is smart to give Ganduje chairmanship of a board.
Okay.
And that is in anticipation of the likelihood of Ganduje not being the chairman towards the build-up to that 2027 election.
Okay.
And the moment Ganduje loses his seat as national chairman, his stature will definitely diminish. Because he's no longer an asset to the president. He's just one of those that president decided to do favor by giving appointment. So the power will be limited. But Barau, as deputy Senate president, will garner more strength because he's going to leverage on his position in the Senate and also going to leverage on the social capital he has built and the remnants of what is left of Ganduje when he falls out of power.
Okay. Now, what if Ganduje fights back? Because definitely he will.
He's not going to go down folding his arms.
Okay.
We want to fight back. But the level of his success in the process of fighting back is not too clear. And we are not too sure if he would be able to muster the strength that he needs to fight back. But you see, my worry about that is APC, a divided APC in Kano, would only give opportunity to NPP again.
Okay.
That is, if Kwakwanso does not consummate this merger with PDP.
Okay.
And if it does, it means, because everybody is rooting for Kwakwanso up to today in Kano.
Okay.
What that means is Kwakwanso will just take his structure back to PDP.
To the new
and
merger.
APC will be stranded because that fight may not end soon.
So for Kano, head or tail, the APC is likely to. Now let's touch base. Let's go to Kwara State, where we have the former Minister for Information, who was the president's chief of staff when he was governor of Lagos State.
Yes.
I'm talking about Lai
Mohammed.
Lai Mohammed has an Otoge movement that has some big wigs.
And that was what he used in getting APC to government.
Exactly. Now that Otoge movement, they are clearly, working from the opposite direction with the sitting governor, Abdulrazak Abdulrahman.
And because at a point he abandoned them, he was not giving them what they deserve.
Okay. Because and up until this moment,
it's like you took a vehicle to a place, and then you abandon that vehicle, and jump into another vehicle. Okay. There's no way the driver.
So
and you have not
who abandoned who?
The
governor abandoned.
The governor abandoned them.
Okay, now they are fighting back.
They are fighting back.
So there's a problem in APC
Definitely.
Okay.
There's a problem. But the only problem I have with Kwara is PDP is not strong in Kwara again. Okay. They have decimated the ranks of PDP. And unfortunately, those who are supposed to remain in PDP to build it again, they have either acquiesced or probably stepped back of politics, and some of them had even crossed over to APC, thinking that the party will continue. But unfortunately, we have a crisis now that may decimate APC in the next election. Don't forget that Lai Mohammed is like a sitting duck now. He doesn't hold on to anything. Okay. And to oil the power...
So he can fight to finish.
But then, does he have the muscle? Because the bullet you use in fighting in politics is money.
Okay.
Patronage.
What do you think is happening between the president and Lai Mohammed?
I think it was neither here nor there during the build-up to the delegates conference that where Tinubu emerged as the candidate of APC.
Don't you think he was working behind the scene?
I don't think so. Fashola was not too clear initially, but Fashola at a point took over the situation room of APC, and that shows clearly that it's for Tinubu. Okay. You know, some of them were working for Lai Mohammed. You see, I mean, the former vice president, Osinbajo.
Okay, Osinbajo.
You know, and the greatest undoing of Ayemi was that up until the venue of the delegates conference, Ayemi was rooting for Osinbajo. Okay. But when it was clear to him, which was a shade too late, was when his house decided to say, okay.
Dele, as you coast home now to the end of this show, Erufai said something that a lot of people didn't know, but he brought it to the fore. He said, look, how can a party be in control of only one man? The party doesn't have a board of trustees. The next meeting has not been held in the past 2 or 3 years or more.
The National Working Committee.
The National Working Committee is not sitting, it's under the thumb of one individual. Now, if you put all of these things together, I think we have listed about 6, 7 states. We've not even touched Abia State. In Abia State, we have all the big wigs in APC in different camps. We have Ojos Okalo, who has just been named the chairman of Senate Committee on the Southeast Development Commission. He served as the deputy chief whip of the Senate in the last assembly. He's been governor for 2 terms. Now you have Uche Oga, former Minister of State for Solid Minerals. Deep pockets. Young man, very articulate. You know, he's in a different camp. You have the sitting Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Ben Carlo. You know, powerful in his own strength. Now you have the Minister of Labour, Nkiru Onyejocha. You also have Ike Chemenike, the man that flew the ticket, the flag of the APC in the 2023 governorship election. Now, all of these 3 people are in different camps. So with all of them in different camps, do you think that the APC can take Abia State in 2027?
Well, it's game for Soludo.
Abia, not Anambra.
Oh, Abia.
Abia State,
okay.
Yes. Abia is Labour Party, by
Labour
the way.
Party, yes. Oti. Alex Oti.
Alex Oti, yes.
Yes. You see, it's game for Alex Oti.
Meanwhile, Alex left APC to Labour Party.
Yes, unfortunately, the Labour Party may not come out strong in the next election.
Okay.
So, but the unfortunate thing is, I always feel for a political party that goes to an election with a divided house. Because you decimate a lot of votes to internal bickering. And that is likely to happen in Abia in the next election. But the only thing that the sitting governor, Alex Oti, should probably work on is to ensure that if Labour Party is not strong enough platform for him to stand, he should look for another party that can serve him in good stead to face this divided APC camp.
Okay.
And I tell you, wherever he goes, and these gladiators, like I said, they are just posturing.
They are not. Some of them may not be posturing.
I said some of them are merely posturing.
Okay.
Into political reckoning in our own way. Because, give or take, if she succeeds in pulling her weight and APC surprisingly becomes the party to beat in that state, of course, it's game for her.
Now, something happened in Abia State during the 2023 general election. Ojos Okalo is a senator representing Abia North senatorial zone. And the party did very well during the senatorial election. Unfortunately,
but failed woefully
at the presidential election. At the presidential election. So, do you think that these people are able to, moderate their differences and put APC, where it's supposed to be in Abia State? I mean, if they want to give enough showing to the president that, look, we did something for you?
That's what I'm saying. Everybody is jostling for attention.
And in this jostling, they're also dividing the party.
That's what I'm saying.
That is the problem.
You see, and if they don't divide the party, the effort of individuals will not show to the powers that be in Abuja.
Okay, we are running out of time. You know, we have just 3 minutes left. Now, in everything we have said, a lot of people don't even know, you know, that this APC has these problems. We've just mentioned like 6, 7 states. More, you know, a lot more in Cross River State. There's problem in which other state again? And in Ondo State, there's problem, you know. But PDP and Labour Party seem to be the ones that get all the spotlight when you talk about internal crisis in the party.
The assumption is that APC is a ruling party, and some aggrieved members of the party that may not have their ways in the states, as we have mentioned, would have something to benefit at the center. So that's why it's not played into prominence. But other parties like Labour Party, PDP, they know that their target is to get to the center. And so all hands must be on deck.
Another assumption is that the APC has this kind of internal mechanism because that the owner of the party, so to say, that the president, you know, that the party is under the thumb of the president. In all that we have considered, I want you to give us your concluding thought. Do you think that the president has the capacity to weigh into the crisis, all these crises, and resolve them before 2027 general election?
Going by his antecedents, Fashola almost rocked the boat.
For Lagos State?
In Lagos State.
Almost?
Almost rocked the boat. Other parties were waiting in the wings.
You know what they said that you know what they said that nearly cannot kill a bird, but my former boss said he can remove the feathers.
Of course. So Fashola nearly rocked the boat. Ambode was a non-starter when it came to his turn. But in all of this, at the critical moments, Tinubu will always have his way. And so, because he's his political strategist, and I see him summoning that courage to get to the next level in this game.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Dele Fanimo. It's been quite an interesting discussion, you know, on Political Lens. Like I told you, this is the debut edition of Political Lens. In subsequent editions, we'll be bringing you political actors, former governors, former ministers, 7 governors, 7 ministers, members of the House of Representatives, local government chairman, political analysts, activists, and all of those people, you know, to help us x-ray, you know, the internal workings, internal dynamics of politics in Nigeria. How people, we get into personalities that shape our future by their actions and inactions, by the decisions they take and the decisions they fail to take, and all of that. Thanks for joining us on this show. I am Chukwuma Okoro. Now, Political Lens returns same time tomorrow, 6 o'clock. Please do join us then. Bye for now, and enjoy the rest of your evening.